chair recognizes the minority leader.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I thank Speaker Boehner for his leadership and cooperation in bringing this legislation to the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Tip O'Neill said the Speaker of the House was Millie, his wife, and I had the privilege of serving in the office that Tip O'Neill had when he was Speaker of the House, and having in my possession the gavel that was given to Speaker O'Neill when he became the leader, not yet the Speaker, and it's Waterford, Mr. Speaker, so you could only use it one time. And perhaps you would use it today, but you made this possible. All of us who admire and love Tip O'Neill are grateful to you for that, so I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and for your very fine words. 2 weeks ago, members of Congress joined members of the O'Neill family and many others to plant a tree in honor of the life of Speaker Tip O'Neill. Today we honor Tip again by passing a resolution to inscribe his name on a federal building, a lasting tribute to the service and leadership to the state of Massachusetts, to the House of Representatives, and his leadership for all Americans. I thank again Speaker Boehner for leading a partisan effort to remember the great Tip O'Neill, together on the floor of the House, where Tip once wielded the Speaker's gavel with courage, dignity, and grace. And I thank you, Mr. Capuano, for joining in the committee to bring this to the floor of the House. And you served in the same district that Tip O'Neill did. What an honor. I served in the office that he had. What an honor. It is fitting that the Tip O'Neill Jr. Federal Building will stand alongside the office building named for Tip's dear friend, colleague, and partner in public service, former President and House Minority Leader Gerald Ford, as the Speaker Boehner indicated. They'll be neighbors. Indeed, reflecting on their long partnership, President Ford once said, "Tip O'Neill is an outstanding political leader and patriot who always carried the torch for the Congress and the American people," carrying the torch. The statement captured the essence of Tip's success, his extraordinary leadership, his unflinching patriotism, his belief in the common good, his devotion to the unending fight for a more perfect union. Yes, Mr. President Ford, Tip carried this torch for all who believe that the purpose of politics is to improve the lives of others. Tip carried the torch for the underdog, for the person on the street, for the family struggling to pay the bills. He carried the torch of opportunity and equality into every budget negotiation, every legislative battle, every bipartisan agreement. Tip was the personal manifestation of the American dream, and he carried the torch for everyone else who strived to achieve it. For Tip, standing on principle was not about political gain. It was about fighting for the voiceless, and for the aspirations of the. For Tip, the effort to reform and save Social Security was not about figures on a page. It was about the seniors fighting to make ends meet. And that's why we were so proud of what he did with President Reagan to prolong the life of Social Security. For Tip, floor debates were not about abstract numbers. They were about people and the consequences of the policy to their lives. Those were the values that enabled Tip O'Neill to leave his giant footprint on the course of American history. This is the spirit that made him a legend, that allowed him to help the middle class thrive, that ensured his actions would strengthen the character of our country in his time and for future generations. By his leadership and his patriotism, Tip O'Neill was a proud champion of his district, his state, and our nation. With his gavel in hand, he was a giant in the Congress. With his record of progress, he was a bona fide American hero. By adding his name to a federal building in sight of the Capitol he loved, we all carry the torch of the legacy of Tip O'Neill. I hope that we have not the close vote that would have been fun maybe at the time, but a unanimous vote that shows that we share Tip's values and take pride in his leadership as he stands as a neighbor to President Gerald Ford. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back the balance. Oh, no, I yield back to the gentleman.
Gentlelady yields back.